car is 100% death proof. Only to get the benefit of it, honey, you really need to be sitting in my seat.
You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs? Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
So have you ever eaten nachos like this before? Like made love to your nachos?
Oh, we will discuss the nachos, the glorious fucking nachos in this movie when we get there. But I don't know what it is about the scene. Everybody's like, ew, gross. and the scene we're talking about, we will get to. But I just, every time I'm like, oh, God, some fucking nachos sounds so fucking good. Just sloppy ass, nasty nachos, man.
I know. Have you ever made love to nachos before?
Oh, I have. You'll get that plate of nachos, you know?
Yeah.
That's just, it's like nacho heaven. Anyway, we'll talk about that. But you may be wondering why we're talking about nachos on Christmas.
Had nothing to do with nothing.
Nothing to do with nothing. Well, it has something to do with today's feature.
Yeah.
But welcome to Night of the Horror. Shit, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. No, welcome to Night of the Horror File. This is your first time joining us. This is a horror movie podcast and genre film podcast where I take a horror movie and genre film and show it to my beautiful wife, Brittany.
And we don't talk about nachos the whole time.
And no. It's not a nacho cast. Could you have a nacho cast?
Mm-hmm.
Nacho cast, like
You just eat nachos on air. It's like a nacho ASMR.
Okay, so these nachos, it's a combination of like 3 cheeses.
Well, you got some nacho in your beard right now.
Do I?
Yes. Whatever you're eating, it's cornbread, I bet.
Cornbread in my beard? Oh, God, how hillbilly-ish of me. But
good thing this isn't a video medium.
Oh, God, right. You know, a lot of people have said, I wonder if these two would do. They need to do video. I want to see them talk about this. I don't know if you do.
No.
I really don't know if you do.
I am a trash goblin.
A trash goblin?
And I will not do, nope. Nobody needs to see this.
By your description, you look like one of the ghoulies.
I am. There you go. Perfect.
Which couldn't be farther from the truth. If anything, I look like the troll from Troll.
I'm one of the I'm one of the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
You are not.
But with pajamas on.
Oh my good Lord. But anyway, what did we watch this week?
Death Proof.
That's right, 2007's Death Proof. All part of our Quentin Tarantino Christmas. I don't know. I say this every episode so far. It's just so much fucking fun.
Yes.
We've been having so much goddamn fun. And I think the biggest part for me is getting to talk about all these old movies that Quentin Tarantino apes and like throws tributes to and stuff like that, you know? Which Brittany has not seen a damn lick of those. And so so we'll be watching these movies, right? Like we were watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood today. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. And she was like, what? I was like, well, this guy who's playing Steve McQueen has his mannerisms now. And I was like in Bullet and stuff like that. I was like, I got Bullet over here. And the glaze starts forming over her eyes.
You're like, never mind.
She's like, Steve Mahoo. Oh, God. Oh, God. But
I just was Brad Pitt.
I feel like today what we watched is a bit more on the typical Night of the Horror File level. This is pretty much a horror movie.
They classified it as a slasher.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss that when we get there. But that's right. Today's feature originally was part of the 2-part theatrical experience called Grindhouse that delighted some of us back in 2007. I think Brittany had a few reactions while watching this.
Yes.
That really was vindictive of how some people, you know, the typical moviegoer reacted to this.
I was like, what is it doing?
Yeah, because like there's
what is happening?
Well, especially with Tarantino's film, you know, Planet Terror, which was the other part of that grindhouse experience kind of double feature thing. Planet Terror was more along the lines of a comedy zombie movie, whereas you get into what Tarantino does with this movie today, and we'll discuss it deeper here in a little while, but you get into what he does today where he's gone overboard with making this look old.
Right.
Like to the point where there is realistic film defects where you're like, wait, what? What just fucking happened? Like, cause so if you're a casual audience goer back in like 2007, you know, the last Quentin Tarantino thing you saw was Kill Bill. Like you're going to be like, wait, whoa, what?
What
the fuck is this shit? Anyway, now Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez got back together again during that time. And we know that they have been collaborating since they both started out, you know, working together on From Dusk Till Dawn. But those two got back together to bring us to the glorious films of the drive-in and grindhouse theater past, which is something... I'll talk more about it at the end, but the time was not right for this. Lots of people didn't know exactly, you know, how to take a big budget, low budget flick designed to be cheap looking and feel like an exploitation film.
A big budget, low budget. What?
I think the biggest complaint I have about this movie is the price tag on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit much. Like, and maybe that all went to, paying people's insurance. Plus you have big name after big name in this fucking movie. So like that's probably where most of your money went. Plus the cars and the stunts. Like I said, insurance costs. 2007 doing the stunts that we see in today's feature is probably through the roof expensive, but it still feels a little weird considering what he's trying to make this movie look like. But anyway, now we could dedicate an entire episode to what the grindhouse and those drive-ins and how that feeling is and stuff like that, especially grindhouse films. But today we focus on Death Proof, my favorite of the two films shown in 2007. Now, the story for Death Proof stemmed from Tarantino's fascination with stuntmen who had they had these stunt cars rigged with roll cages and safety devices, which would enable them to survive horrible wrecks, all done in the pursuit of the money shot at the end of a car stunt. You know, think of Hal Needham, you know, stuff like that, or a Burt Reynolds guy.
Okay, I was like, what?
Brittany's getting the glazed look already. This is going to be one of those days. In fact, he got the name Death Proof, which is the nickname for the car in this movie. You know, it's not just safe; it's Death Proof. He got that from hanging out with Sean Penn. They were like plastered or something in a hotel room, and Penn told him he could hire a stunt crew to Death Proof any car he wanted. Oh. So Tarantino took this and combined it with a slasher. You know, the slasher formula. That's right. Death Proof is a slasher. Only instead of a machete, our killer uses a car. Very effectively. At least for half the movie. But he couldn't quite just make a dead-on slasher. You know, because the thing is with Tarantino, he needs some way to kind of step outside the box and stuff when he's doing a movie. And with the exception of the women in prison films, there is literally no subgenre quite as rigid as the slasher subgenre. You know, we've gone over so many slashers and they all follow the same formula.
Oh yeah. You
know, the same basic formula with the exception of some newer stuff that comes out. But I agree with him. You know, slashers, they typically are the same. If you stray too far from that, you aren't doing a slasher at that point.
Right.
You know, you might be just doing a murder mystery. So Tarantino took that formula and fucked it up.
In the best possible way.
In the best fucking possible way. He made it all disjointed and he uses that formula against you as you're watching this movie. Because you like up at the half minute, like halfway through this movie, you don't know what the fuck's happening.
Right.
Like, and not in a, I don't understand this movie thing. I think honestly, this is the simplest of his movies.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say yeah.
This is a very simple movie. It's not very complex, but that is vindictive to what a grindhouse movie was. Now, the original name was Thunderbolt on the working screenplay, which does flash on the screen for like a split second during the credits. But Death Proof sounded a lot more fun, thanks to Sean Penn. This is also the first time Quentin gets credit as cinematography.
Oh.
You know, so he does the cinematography in this movie, which there's a lot of camera angles that are really fucking cool. Now, the budget for this thing, back on the budget here. Like I said, if there's one negative thing I can say about Death Proof, it is the budget. And, well, okay, so back in 1971, a film like Vanishing Point comes out, you know, and this film takes like tons of inspiration from that movie, including the car. I mean, the literal Vanishing Point car is in this movie, even though I think it's a 71 made to look like a 70. But anyway, now Vanishing Point 1971 had a budget about $1 to $2 million, which in 2000 money it would have been inflated to about 2.6 million. Okay. Maybe a tad higher, but not much. Death Proof cost $30 million to make.
Holy shit.
It seems a little excessive to me, considering what we have here, considering that it's supposed to be an old school grindhouse movie, which you're aping. And Vanishing Point was not a grindhouse movie, first of all. It's a very good car chase movie. But like what this movie's doing is trying to look like those low budget, like rushed production movies and stuff like that. It's like, could you like 30 million? Could you imagine? Most of those movies cost like $70,000 at the most. The movie that he's like tributing today, but you know, whatever. Like I said, that's the one thing that boggles my mind.
That doesn't make it a true grindhouse to me.
Yeah. But for now, we have a lot to talk about. So let's dive into 2007's Death Proof.
So the opening credits to the movies are,
you know,
Leigh's guts being ripped out by like, I don't know, me.
By you. Okay. So there are indeed two versions of Death Proof. The trim to the bone version one, which played in the 2007 double feature with Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror, and the version we are talking about today, the version we watched, the extended version. Now, the trim version is much closer to what a grindhouse flick or a classic drive-in film would have been. Basically, these guys would shoot a bunch of footage and just trim it to the bare fucking bones to put this thing out, right? And that's kind of what Quentin Tarantino did. You know, a lot of what we saw in our extended version, it was not in the movie. You know, and it's pretty much all the dialogue,
right,
is taken out, and a few little scenes here and there, and a few jokes are added and taken away, like the lap dance scene.
Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's played as a joke where like it flashes away from that and it's the next thing. But anyway. Both are good. Like, there's nothing wrong with either one of them. But I do say, if you don't dig the scenes of the dialogue in the extended and stuff, even though I love that's like my, those are my favorite parts of Tarantino movies.
Right.
But if you don't really enjoy that and you think it's a little slow, because it does, I'll admit, it does kind of kill the movie every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
There is a part in the middle here that just kills this movie dead for just a minute.
Do you like this movie?
Oh, I fucking love this movie. We haven't gotten to my pluses.
Okay.
You're about to hear me jerk off to this movie on air.
Oh, now, please don't.
Because a lot of people hate this movie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting all the negatives out of the way first.
Okay.
Which are maybe like 3 things. So you guys bear with me. But the 2007 version is very trim and it's very fast. And it is to the point and great.
Okay.
You know, it is so if you want more action, go with that. But if you want a Quentin Tarantino movie, go with the other stuff.
So the opening credits to the movie are a woman's feet on the dash of a car as it's being driven down the road.
Now,
of course.
I was going to say, at this point, are you even surprised by a foot shot?
No. What else would it be? Okay.
It would feel weird if there wasn't feet.
Right.
And at this stage in his career, I swear, once 2007 hits, it is Footapalooza, man.
My gosh.
We are pushing the feet out, man.
Literally.
Yeah, we are doing it. Because it's so funny because you could look back at the movies he's done and you can see a slow progression to where like everybody's getting more and more cool with Quentin's foot fetish. Up until next week's movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it's the train of feet. We're doing a parade of feet.
Nice.
Might as well be called Once Upon a Foot in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Foot. That's gross. So then we meet Julia as she's walking through her house half dressed, but most emphasizes on her feet and legs, of course. And her friends, it's Shanna. I had to think about how she says it. It's not Shauna. It's Shanna.
Shanna.
And Arlene show up, and they're going out for Julie's birthday. As they're driving, they are seeing all kinds of billboards that say Jungle Julia on them, and they are wooing every time they see this because this is their friend Julia.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have a good time with this stuff. You know, this is the kind of stuff that people were a little turned off by. Was the girls, because Quentin Tarantino dedicates a lot of this movie to girls hanging out.
Yes.
Like I should say that. That's one of the pluses I see of this movie is we dedicate a lot of time to these girls hanging out and stuff.
It's a hangout movie.
It is.
It's a hangout slasher movie.
If there was yes. Brittany just hit the nail on the head. And I love that. I kind of wish, I know this was his worst financially, this movie. So, like, we probably won't ever get a Tarantino flick like this, but it would be kind of cool for him to do another, like, slasher or a horror movie. I would love it.
Oh, yeah.
But so our film starts in typical drive-in fashion with just a lot of sexy ladies. Not trying to take my feminist commentary and just fucking shoot it in the face, but, I mean, good Lord. Like, the women in Death Proof. Now, one thing we got going here is the film is entirely in chronological order. We have zero flashbacks.
Right.
And that may have turned off some Tarantino fans, especially, this came right at the tail end of the 2-part epic Kill Bill. You know,
okay.
So you got people coming off of that expecting probably even better, because that's the thing about Tarantino's career. Each movie gets better than the last, you know.
Right.
Each movie that he does is just building up and stuff. But I don't know. I don't feel like Death Proof should be written off because of that.
I don't think so either.
The thing is, yes, this isn't his best movie, but I feel like it's out of a whole fucking filmography of greats or goods and greats, he's got one good.
Right.
This is a good movie. It's just not great.
I don't know. I liked it.
I know. But and while this is supposed to be a drop in quality on purpose, I think it kind of acts as a dead stop, you know, like this quality thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a problem with some people because you just paid the ticket price to go see an old movie. And if you didn't know that's what you're doing, because Death Proof really does look like I found this like in a bargain bin somewhere and it's an old 70s movie that isn't talked about.
Right.
Like that's what Death Proof looks like. And so like to come out in 2007 when I do not think the world was ready for that.
Probably.
Well, because, and we'll discuss it at the end here, but like I think if it would have came out today, it would have been fucking massive. Because here's the thing, like you see so many of these people shelling out $40 a pop for these boutique labels of like old grindhouse movies that really aren't really worth much more than $5, but people are paying out the ass for them and calling them hidden masterpieces. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I think this.
I see what you mean. Yeah, this would have done better here, but he didn't know that.
No, in fact, he said in an interview, he was like, me and Robert Rodriguez really took everybody for granted. We thought more people were aware of this kind of stuff.
Oh,
like, and this, nobody knew what to do with this over in fucking the like overseas.
Oh yeah,
because the grindhouses and the drive-ins are kind of an American tradition. Like, so you got people over there like, what the fuck?
What is this?
What the hell is this shit? But
it's a bunch of talking and then America thrown in the middle.
Right. And because like the aesthetic is he's pure tribute mode here. Like this is Quentin Tarantino just fucking having fun. I feel like it might be a little much for some people.
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
So the girls have all these plans for Julia's birthday, and they're trying to figure out how they can score some weed. The girls end up stopping, and Arlene sees some car that stops and watches them walk inside of this like convenience store or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just speeds off.
Yes, which we'll meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to meet Kurt Russell in a little bit. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about Kurt Russell in any aspect. Now,
forever.
Yeah, forever. We could do a Russell Rules podcast and it'd be great. Now,
no, we're not having another Patreon thing.
He's so great. He's so great.
Maybe after Ash and maybe after.
We'll do a Russell Rules.
Maybe.
We'll do the computer wore tennis shoes. We'll even do that shit. We'll do his Disney stint. Brittany is going to murder me. Now, Jungle Julia here is played by the gorgeous Sidney Poitier. And she is the daughter of Sir Sidney Poitier. Now, this is technically the third time this character appears in a Tarantino work in his little universe here. The first was Unruly Julie in My Best Friend's Birthday from 1987, which is Tarantino. I think he wrote it, and it's a very low-budget movie. It's kind of not talked about. And I can't find it anywhere, so I haven't seen it. The second was as Wayne Gale's assistant in Natural Born Killers, which if you guys know much about that, like Quentin Tarantino pinned that and then Tony Scott directed. It's not the only character to be reused by Tarantino, though, especially in this movie. Later, we get Earl McGraw. You know,
oh yeah,
Earl McGraw comes back from Dusk Till Dawn and stuff like that. In fact, he was also in Kill Bill before this. Again, played by the incredible Michael Parks, which I don't know. Okay, so I feel like you've experienced a few Michael Parks roles. I feel like,
yeah.
How do you feel? I just feel like he's so underrated. Well, the only thing you saw him in was in From Dusk Till Dawn, where he played the same character at the beginning. He gets shot in the head in that one. But...
yeah. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. I was like, wait a second.
We've been talking about him over on Damn Fine Peaks.
Yeah. Okay, I remember
as Jean Reno.
He's cool. I mean,
I just feel like he commands the screen when he's on there, man. He has a presence about him.
Especially in this movie.
He has a presence.
I wanted more.
Yeah, you want more of that character, and you would get more if you had seen Planet Terror with this.
It would have made more sense.
Yeah.
So the girls sit down for lunch, and their friend Marcy shows up, and they're talking about how Julia talked about Arlene on the radio, and she had said that her friend is in from out of town, and that if they saw them out on the town tonight and they recite a poem to her, then she has to give them a lap dance. Arlene is hesitant, but Julia says she can pick and choose who she dances for. Basically, like we can lie to the guys and say, I already did that. It was a one-time thing. Yeah. And don't ask me to say the poem because I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but I love how like Tarantino really does like to nod at like those old school DJs.
Yeah.
Like big DJs. Like when DJs were a big thing where you would have Jungle Julia, like fucking big ass billboards and stuff like that.
Right.
It's not something you see anymore since radio's kind of gone commercial and it's almost dead.
Well, the last one we had here, the last big radio DJ that we had here died.
Yeah. I mean, we used to have Phil and Brent, but then I think Phil died. I mean,
yeah.
It's really a lost kind of art form.
Yeah.
Like there are no like big name DJs anymore. Like you don't have any more Casey Kasems, you know?
Right.
This is Casey Kasem doing the top 10. Top 40.
It's sad though.
Up next from the coasters, we get it really is sad. It is a lost fucking art form.
Right.
Especially since podcast is just kind of shitting on that, man.
Maybe that's what it is.
Not to fucking shoot myself in the foot here, but like it really kind of is because like I've not heard a radio DJ voice in years.
Right.
Like listening to podcasts, there are no radio DJ sounding guys anymore. Like that kind of presentation is just out the fucking window.
Right. But they don't have to catch your attention. You're already going to that. You're clicking on it. If you like the subject, you're clicking on it. So it doesn't really matter what their voice. Well, okay, never mind. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that back. But I really think that radio DJs that had those voices so that you would stay on that station.
Well, yeah, and most of them were fun. Like you got, I forget his name, but he did the shit in L.A. where he was just like cool and hip. You know, he's like, you don't know him, but
I was like, what?
I was like, I'm not saying this because I figure you know him. We'll talk about him when we do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because he's all over that movie without you even knowing.
Okay,
but like you know, you had those guys cut in and they'd have a certain amount of time, so they had to get your attention and stuff like that.
Right. So
and,
they had to have good voices.
Yeah, and he was like the radio DJ was part of the music lineup. Like he'd pop in like, well, up next, you know, you gotta, you know, and then like they would style their voice after what kind of genre they were playing. Like the rock guys were kind of a little bit more poppy and excited and stuff. And then you had the smooth jazz guys, you know, like the later you would go, the smoother the DJ would get.
It's true.
Like you'd have like somebody at midnight. Hi, welcome to the midnight airwaves. I'm your host. Getting you through the midnight hour.
That made me think of what the fuck is that movie? Ghost Ship? No. Is that a movie? Did we watch?
A Ghost Ship is a movie and it's so fucking awful.
It's not a movie that we watched, right? No.
No, I don't think so.
What's that movie with the ghosts that were on the ship?
Ghost Ship?
Never mind. Just, I'm going to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry.
I'm sure it'll come to you here in a little bit. It'll be in the middle of something and that.
Remember the people got cursed because their family was like pirates and they killed the people and then the town was cursed.
Oh, yeah.
And then up in the lighthouse, the fog.
Yeah, you're talking about Adrian Barbeau and that movie. Yeah,
it made me think of that.
Yeah, that kind of shit. Like you don't have that no more.
No,
you don't have anybody anymore.
That's really funny.
And radio shows nowadays, not that you guys, I'm sorry, but DJs are my thing. Like, but like you don't have like even locally, we don't have that anymore. Like the most you get is a half-ass podcast in the morning now.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the morning shows are all just podcasts.
Yeah.
It's not even like what it used to. Morning shows used to be very entertaining. It's not that anymore.
And they used to talk about the music and shit like that. Like they were talking about the music and that's what you were there for.
It's pretty, I blame Clear Channel because all the fucking radio stations have gone so commercial. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
I don't know. I used to listen to him all the time. Oh, and I'm tired of that fucking fake dating second date thing. I don't know if everybody else has that, but here all the radio stations play this second date thing where people call in, and I'm using air quotes here. They call in and say, oh, I was trying to get a second date with this person and they didn't call me. So the radio station calls them and talks to them and it's like, no, he was too obsessed with his mom.
Yeah, they make up the stupidest shit. It's like, no, that did not happen. I don't believe you at all.
This did not fucking happen.
Yeah. No, why would someone be on the air talking like
right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a sad lost thing. And this movie, not just the DJs and stuff like that. And I'll talk about it here at the end. I'll really discuss what this movie kind of makes me sad. Because this whole movie feels like it's a goodbye to something we've lost in entertainment.
Oh.
You know, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Now, this poem here, though, is an excerpt from the poem Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. But it's also a reference to the film Telephone from 1977. Now, in that film, the poem that they recite here, you know, I got miles to go, butterfly. It's used to activate Russian sleeping agents in that movie.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Get your pens ready.
So it's dark now and the girls are drunk at a bar and a man is watching them and he has pictures of him in his visor. They go into the bar and they're waiting on their friend Lena to show up with the weed. And then Eli Roth is there.
Eli, that's the thing about Quentin Tarantino. He gets so many of these people to be friends with him to where they just start showing up in his movies.
And this
like
is
Eli
a very
Roth. Yeah.
like C role that he's playing here. Like, he doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, and we'll talk about in the 2-part miniseries coming up next month. We'll talk about how Eli Roth kind of owes a lot to Quentin Tarantino for his career. Now, now Eli Roth actually he was in Europe filming Hostel 2.
Oh.
Yeah, and he flew to do his scenes in one day for Tarantino.
Well, he only had like 4 lines.
I know. And I love
and he's a bad guy.
I love how gross these dudes are in this movie. That's another thing. Like, again, with the misogyny. Like,
right.
Oh, yeah. Not in this movie, man. This movie is almost like.
They try to be misogynistic, but it doesn't work.
It's not working. And I'll kind of explain what's up because, like, Quentin Tarantino. It's like full on, guys kind of suck in this movie. Like, that's how it feels.
Yes. So Julia is texting with a guy named Chris, and she can't wait to see him. They get sent out a round of shots from a man named Warren, which is Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
Arlene goes out to smoke, and she sees that car again. Well, her date. It's not her boyfriend. Her date, Nate, comes out and says that he wants to make out with her in the car. And she agrees, but she has a few stipulations. She's like, 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
That's it.
6 minutes. And I love this shot, right? Of like when they flick the lights on. Because Warren is like, hey, turn the lights on. There's a light off. And when it comes on, it's on that car and it's raining and stuff. The fucking shot here is so good. And again, he's reusing music from other movies and stuff. I believe somewhere around here he's using the Blowout theme, John Travolta and Brian De Palma flick. Okay. He's using that theme of that. But like, I just love the shot of this creepy fucking car.
Yeah, that's how she notices the car.
Yeah. And in this movie, that's another thing. Quentin Tarantino, especially in this first half, really does make a car scary again. Like,
yeah.
It had been a while. In 2007, it had been a while since we saw like a scary car. Like you start thinking about when you see this shot specifically, when you see this, you start thinking about like Christine and stuff. And like, there's just something scary about this fucking car. I don't know what it is, but
it is.
Yeah. Now, okay, let's talk visual aesthetics here again. You have this grainy, disgusting, scratched, worn look to most of this movie. That's not a filter, first off. Like, a lot of these movies that come out today and try to like toss one back to the fucking old grindhouse look will lean into scratch filters, which anything filter specific that throws like scratchers or VHS on any kind of video,
it annoys the fuck out of me.
Yes, it annoys the ever-loving piss out of me because first of all, the scratch filters aren't even right. Right. The scratches are too perfect.
Right.
That's not how that shit looked. And the VHS filters are even worse because it's always just tracking lines. And I was like, eventually you could fix that tracking. Like, it wouldn't just stay there. You wouldn't watch a whole video with tracking problems.
Right.
But as we know by now, Tarantino shoots on film. And he's very, very, very big on detail. And to get this look that he has in this movie, because it looks more organic. You have scratches in some parts. Not some things are okay. They're clean. Then you have scratches in other things because that's how it would be. Tarantino actually took the film negatives of this movie and scratched them and scored them. He distressed his own film prints.
There's even a part, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but there's even a part where I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times and I was like, oh, that's meant to be there.
Yeah, because you're like, you even told me, because I know what part you're talking about. It's when they're in it is just a diner or something.
Yeah, and it glitches.
Yeah, where she like repeats her line because it hits a record skip or something.
And I was like, dang, Hulu, you got your shit all fucked up. And then I watched the DVD or whatever and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's meant to be there. and it feels organic. It doesn't feel like a cheap filter,
right,
or a cheap nod. It literally feels like something's wrong with the film print.
Right. It was like, okay.
and he drops scenes here and there, like which later on he'll drop a scene and it's like the film's been burnt in that part, so there's no usable scene footage,
right,
and stuff like that. And he creates the illusion of an old movie. And the way this thing looks, it was very common during the time with these cheaply made grindhouse flicks. Most of the time, these rolls of films were the result of like low budget rush productions, limited resources, cheap ass film stock, and the reels were shipped back and forth to different theaters.
Yeah,
like all the time, and they were being exposed to extreme temperatures and all sorts of degradation.
Right.
Which would result in a shitty looking movie.
You know what I liked about this movie is that I didn't know what time frame we were in.
You don't.
You don't know until they start using cell phones.
Yeah.
Sometimes. They only use it a little bit. But
it's kind of like how you felt during Pulp Fiction, only more so here.
Yeah.
Like,
because I was like, what time? I don't know.
You're
what
like,
time
is this
frame.
the 60s and 70s?
Right.
He does this so perfectly. So, something that people still try to do today. Like when they make their movies, because they're like, I'm making an old school movie. Like they'll still try to do that today, but they don't pull it off quite like this. Like knowing now, because you had the benefit of me explaining things to you. Because I really wanted you coming into this podcast having two viewpoints. One of someone just watching this.
Right.
And then one of somebody knowing what this is going after and knowing what it's supposed to be looking like.
Right.
Like, how did you feel about the whole thing?
Well, at first, before I talked to you about it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this movie? Like, it was weird to me.
It's like distracting.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
And then you explained it to me and I was like, okay, about it being a grindhouse movie and this is what grindhouse movies look like and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Was it necessary? Meh. If you wanted it to be a grindhouse movie, then yes. If it was just a casual movie, was it necessary? No.
Yeah, I understand.
It didn't add anything or take anything away from the movie to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah. You know what did take away from the movie for me?
What took away?
Is Mike eating these fucking nachos all repulsively and just making love to these nachos.
First of all, Stagger Lee kicks in. He's fucking just gnawing on some fucking nachos, man. And this nachos platter that he has going on here. Jesus Christ. Like,
I mean, I want to eat it.
Right. He makes it look so much better than it actually probably is.
Right.
Because this is bar nachos. Like, I don't expect Warren's bar nachos to be that good.
I mean, if you're drunk, they might be good.
That's true. You got to at least be like 5 drinks in. And these fucking nachos are probably orgasmic.
Oh,
you ever had that like orgasmic drunk food?
Yeah.
Where you're at a bar and they're like, I don't know, we got a burger behind the stove. And you want that? And it's like, yes, please.
I had a grilled cheese once at a strip club when I was really drunk.
Oh.
You know what? I was hungry, okay? And I was really fucking drunk. And I was like, I want something to eat.
I'm going to make you grilled cheese on the Foreman grill I got back here. You want that?
No, I'm pretty sure that they served breakfast, like legs and eggs kind of thing.
Why? I just never understood the act of like, all right, we're going to be able to see some boobies and eat some food. It just... Like, I just don't understand eating at a strip club. It just doesn't make any sense.
But you don't like to mix your sexual intercourses with food either.
Yeah. When I'm getting a boner, the last thing I'm thinking about is a fucking fried egg. Ew. And why is it always the runny, disgusting food they're always serving?
What are you making fun of my eggs? You don't like the way I like to eat my eggs?
This has
like
nothing to do with
eggs.
this movie, but Brittany likes to eat snot eggs, and it's disgusting.
I like them barely cooked.
It's disgusting. I think that's more repulsive than Mr. Stuntman Mike's nachos here.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. So then down the way, Dove and Omar, some of the guys that are hanging out with the girls, are talking about how they're going to get the girls more drunk so they can go back to the lake house with them and get their dicks sucked. Yeah, no.
Again, doesn't it just feel to you like, I mean, Stuntman Mike himself is a scumbag. And like, doesn't it just feel like he's just in like a period where he's like, dudes just suck. Yes. All these dudes are just really just terrible people.
Yes. So Arlene comes back with Nate and a woman named Pam is there at the bar and she needs a ride home. Mike offers her a ride and he says, but you're going to go when I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
He introduces himself as Stuntman Mike. And she doesn't really believe that that's his name. And Pam asks Mike why he keeps looking over at the table of Julie and her friends. And he asks if Julia is from the billboards. And Pam says yes. And Mike can tell that she doesn't like her. Pam says that Julia was a monster and beat her up a few times in school because they went to school together.
Yeah. Now, I do love because she's like, Warren, who is this guy? It's like the Stuntman Mike. Who's Stuntman Mike? He's a stuntman. It's simple little lines that he does like that just crack me up. Now, Rose McGowan is a fucking joy to watch, man.
Oh, yeah.
She's always a joy to watch. And you get more Rose McGowan in Planet Terror, where she has the machine gun leg and stuff like that. They purposely put like her in blonde and these bright clothes and stuff to contrast her character from Planet Terror, which you would have seen Planet Terror before Death Proof.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of feel like with those movies, I kind of feel like Planet Terror should have came second.
Okay.
Death Proof is more like getting you pumped, and then Planet Terror is more like the fucking cherry on top of the whole sundae. It's goofy fun. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like I would have put Planet Terror at the end, but that's just me. For now, let's talk about Stuntman Mike.
Oh my God.
It's Kurt fucking Russell. Playing a scumbag villain, and he honestly, he does such a good fucking job at this. I really want to see more villains like this played by Kurt Russell now. I don't think he's going to do it. I mean, he's playing the best Santa Claus we've ever gotten. I don't know how I don't know how they managed to make Santa sexy, but they did it with Kurt Russell. Have you seen this?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Look up the Christmas Chronicles while I'm talking here, and you'll see it's basically Santa Daddy. They've literally made a sexy Santa Claus. It's on Netflix. There's 2 of these motherfucking movies.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But
Santa Daddy.
That's what I'm saying. Now, Kurt wasn't Tarantino's first choice. He had a long list of people in mind to play Stuntman Mike here, including John Travolta and Bruce Willis, John Jarrett as well, who had done the film Wolf Creek in 2005, which there is a billboard that they fly through with the Wolf Creek thing on it. But anyway, John Jarrett was also in Next to Kin, the horror film, not the Swayze flick. But anyway,
okay.
Willis and McGowan actually would appear together in Planet Terror before this, so that's kind of interesting. Now Tarantino went with Russell because, I mean, first of all, it's fucking Kurt Russell, and even Tarantino said he was over the moon when he landed Kurt Russell. But to his generation of movie lovers, Kurt Russell's the hero, the badass fucking hero. But he was kind of like. During this time, like Kurt Russell was doing the movie Miracle and doing these Disney movies and stuff like that. So he was kind of like, when's Kurt Russell going to be badass again? And here he is.
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, here he is. He's badass. I mean, he's the villain, but he's still kind of badass.
Oh, yeah.
Up until the end. There's a moment where this whole thing turns around on you, which I love that. I absolutely love it. But the thing is about this character, he's scary.
Right.
He's legitimately frightening, which is something that you just haven't really seen Kurt Russell do at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Which I think is very refreshing.
I'm going to have to agree, even though I've only seen one Kurt Russell movie.
Yeah, like I said, we'll do the Russell Rules podcast.
No. No, stop coming up with ideas.
I'm sure people out there is like, so you gonna do horror movies anymore? Or what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing with those?
It's a genre movie podcast now.
Yeah, you guys, we're doing this because I would have had to create 2 podcasts, and I can't do that.
No.
Do you want a slip in quality? Because you'll get a slip in quality that way. So.
I'm not doing it. So fuck you.
Yeah, so you're gonna sit through the occasional non-horror movie.
Occasional? We got 2 months of this shit.
No, I'm so happy.
Anyway, so the girls go outside to smoke weed, and it's raining. Julia has her legs up on this banister thing, of course. Okay, I don't think Julia wears shoes through the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I see her put on a shoe at all.
I think I should have explained, though, when they were in the car before, she had her legs or her feet propped on the window. So all you could see is like her feet and her legs because she's laying down in the back seat.
Which, according to Tarantino, that's just good direction.
Yeah.
Just shooting the feet.
It's not because he has a foot fetish.
No,
it's just good direction.
Totally not. Just because it's good direction.
Yeah.
Signed a lady's foot the other day. That was just good direction.
Anyway, but she's so hot.
Oh, man. Sidney Poitier is
so
so fucking hot. Oh, man.
She's a bitch, though.
Oh, yeah.
She's a total bitch in this movie. But you know what? I'd let her be a bitch to me.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, well, Mike is out there and he asks Julia if she is famous. And she says that she's a local DJ and she offers him some weed, but he says no and goes inside. Pam asks him what shows he has been in and he names a few, but she just kind of looks at him like he's crazy.
Which
no.
I love the line he drops, which is something kind of poignant to me nowadays, because that's kind of what I do to you. Because he's rattling off all these old school like TV shows and stuff that he's doubled for.
Yeah.
And stuff. And he finally, he just looks at it. He's like, you haven't heard of anything I'm talking about, have you?
Nope.
No. That's how I feel. No.
Sometimes I feel like you're making it up. I mean, if it wasn't for Twitter,
I get that a lot, and I'm like, guys, Google exists.
I know. If it wasn't for Twitter, I'd be like, you're lying to me.
Yeah, because I really should actually like. Like some of the stuff I just rattle off is off the top of my head. So I apologize if any of it is wrong. But now also in the running for Stuntman Mike was Mickey Rourke. Now, who Tarantino admitted he had his heart set on playing this role. I mean, it is, if you know much about Mickey Rourke, I know. Don't know a word of what I'm saying, do you? No. But if you do know much about Mickey Rourke, this is a really good role. This would have been great for him. But Tarantino even discussed this role with Mickey Rourke. And Mickey Rourke was excited about it. But Rourke's agents started fucking around.
Oh, no.
You know, they started trying to hold out for more money, believing Tarantino would pay anything to have him in the movie, which is not fucking true. And it wasn't Rourke's fault either. It's just Hollywood agents being fucking dicks. You know?
I hate that. I hate that they can't make up their own choices.
Well, because a lot of like agents aren't actually looking out for their client's best interest.
No, they just want money.
Yeah. They're just trying to get him more money when it's like, yeah, but this would have been really good. Right. For him. I mean, we're fucking damn lucky we got Kurt Russell here because Kurt Russell's fucking great in this role. This is amazing. And it's such a different role. Like, it's not just the same Kurt Russell you used to seeing. You know?
It's not Sexy Santa.
Man.
Thank God. Anyway.
I remember I was like, somebody was like, did you see those Christmas Chronicle movies? Those were bad. And I was like, I liked them for various reasons. I thought they were, I think they're just fine. For various reasons.
Anyway. So Mike takes drinks to Julia and Arlene and says the poem. Julia says that he missed his chance, and Mike asks Arlene if he frightens her, and she says yes because of his car. She asks if he's been following them, and he says no, the town is just small. Yeah. He says he isn't stalking them, but then says that he knows that she hasn't given a lap dance all night. What? Anyway.
Well, he was in there eating nachos.
Okay, but before then, they'd been out before then.
I know.
She says that she'll give him a rain check, and Mike says that he carries a book and writes down everyone that he meets, and he's going to write her down but file it under chicken shit.
Which I love because he goes into Kurt Russell does a fucking John Wayne impression here. I love it.
Okay, I wondered if that's what that was.
Yeah, that's John Wayne because he's like, you know how people say, you know, you're okay in my book.
Yes. He's like, but I actually have a book.
I actually have a book.
So Arlene finally agrees, and she gives him this lap dance, and I got a boner.
Whew. This is good. This is a fully clothed lap dance.
Yeah.
And
I mean, she doesn't need to be naked to be sexy.
No. That's the thing about a Tarantino movie. They don't have to be naked to be sexy.
Right.
And that, because it feels like through this month so far, we've seen a lot of sex and we really haven't.
Right.
We've seen one hilarious sex scene and one poor Vin Rames getting his butthole raped.
Oh, that's not a sexy.
That is all we've seen, but it feels like we have seen a lot of sexy.
Yeah.
With no nudity. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
See, you guys can do a good movie with no nudity. It's possible. Although I would like to see more dong in your movies. But anyway.
Oh my God, stop.
Special thanks to James Gunn for putting dong in a superhero movie. Nobody's been talking about that, but it's there. Anyway.
Stop now.
Now in the theatrical version, this scene is cut and replaced with a missing scene title card, which got a good laugh out of me. But a few dudes in my audience were audibly pissed.
What?
Which is like, what? Like, what are you mad? Why are you this mad?
Go to the strip club.
I don't know, man. It was weird for me and my buddy that I went with because both of us knew what was going on.
Right.
Because we were watching grindhouse movies together for a long time.
You guys were grinding?
No. No, but we would watch these kind of movies, so we knew what was going on. So we were having a ball, but like people were getting up and walking out. I think by the end of the movie, there was maybe 10 people in our theater.
That's dumb.
Yeah, and we went opening night. It just wasn't that. I don't know, but anyway, I could just imagine the theater workers having issue refunds. Jesus, those poor people. But this song here, though, that plays, which is one of my favorite songs by the Coasters, Down in Mexico, which is it's a lovely accompaniment to a lovely scene. And I mention it because, well, first of all, that's Tarantino's personal jukebox you see there.
Oh, okay.
The Amel. And but the song is actually an altered version of Down in Mexico by the Coasters. It was a re-recording done in 1973. And Quentin Tarantino actually got the vinyl of that, which is a newly recorded vinyl way back in the day. And in fact, he was working at a porn theater one time, and one of the guys who was
I like how casual that was.
Well, you do what you got to do. He was working at a porn theater one time, and this other guy who was a collector was like, dude, that thing is worth a lot of fucking money. And that was in back in probably the 80s or something.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine how much that's fucking worth at this point.
Yeah. So he played the vinyl for this scene then?
Yeah, because I mean, and I don't know. I love music, but I don't know enough about that kind of stuff to tell you if I know it's not on Spotify, this version of the song. It's not on Spotify, but I don't know if you can get it anywhere else. I just don't know. I don't know. So, but I mean, if not, that means Tarantino owns the song that's in this movie.
That's
the
funny.
only copy. But I don't know. I have no idea about that kind of stuff.
Okay. So they're all leaving, and Julia is saying that Pam is going to fuck Mike. She says no, that he's old enough to be her dad, and he can hear her the whole time. He's like,
I love that.
I can hear you. It keeps going on.
He's like, I can still hear you. That's what I mean by Stuntman Mike being this fucking incredible fucking scummy, nasty fucking villain, but at the same time you can't help but like him because he has Kurt Russell's charm. Right. And this kind of character, I swear it runs kind of parallel, not so much parallel, but he kind of runs parallel with Cliff Booth, who we will meet next week in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Okay. He's a character he's not a good person. He's not a great person, but at the same time, because he's got the charisma of fucking Brad Pitt, you can't help but love him. It's a weird character.
Right. So Pam sees the car and says that it's scary. He tells her that it's death proof because it's a stunt car. Mm-hmm. She gets in and she has to sit in this thing he calls the crash box.
Yep. And now the fantastic little shot where Kurt Russell looks at the camera before they drive off and he smiles. That's a nod to Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds did this a lot in his movies. There was always a moment, well, not in all of his movies, but in some of his movies, he would stop, look at the camera and give that little fucking smile. Like, I love that.
Like, you don't even know what's about to happen.
Yeah, I love this little fucking smile Kurt Russell gives us.
So they take off, and he wants to know if she's going left or right. She says left, and he said that if she would have chosen right, it would have been a while before she got scared. But since she's going left, then she's going to be scared immediately.
Now, you're not, in this moment, Kurt Russell's a bad guy.
Right.
I mean, we're watching a straightforward fucking movie about killers and stuff like that. So we know he's a bad guy, but we don't know exactly what he's capable of.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I didn't fill you in on what this movie was about enough to maybe ruin what's about to happen. But did you expect a lot about what's about to go down?
Well, the only thing that ruined is I watched the whole scene with you before I watched any of the other parts of the movie.
That's fucking right. That's fucking right.
So I knew what was coming.
Right.
But it was fine because I liked, I guess it didn't ruin it for me because I didn't see anything up until that point.
I like the creative way that he has people get killed by a car in this fucking movie. Mm-hmm. It's not just a hit and run, like they didn't just run people over or anything like that. It's
That'd be too easy.
Yeah, it'd be too easy. Now, aside from the slasher angle, having a psycho chase pretty ladies, women, like I said, are the focus of Death Proof.
Yes.
The ladies are very much front and center here. And Tarantino's first inspiration to do this was because for the last 3 to 4 years before he made this movie, he had been hanging out with a lot of female friends.
Oh, yeah.
He was hanging out with like groups of women, just hanging out and stuff and observing and stuff like that. And because
staring at their feet.
Probably. He'd just come off of Kill Bill, He's there. I mean, in the most, in Hollywood where like so many people are lecherous freaks and they're threatening and shit like that and trying to rape you all the time. I think the least would be Quentin Tarantino just wanting to fondle your feet. Yeah. I just feel like it's almost non-threatening. But anyway. but no, he was, because he's a writer first and foremost, so he was hanging out with these people and just observing and soaking it in and stuff like that. And he takes a lot of the conversations that he heard and a lot of the mannerisms and stuff, and he applies it to this movie.
Because he had no choice but to listen to them because he's staring at their feet the whole time.
The least he could do is
because he's not in the conversation. He's listening to the conversation and staring. Maybe he's rubbing their feet.
Can I see who wants a foot rub? Who wants a foot rub? You want a foot rub? Okay.
I would have to let Quentin Tarantino rub my feet.
I bet he gives good foot rubs. I feel like dudes who really are into feet, they just give the awesome foot rubs. They know, like I said, they I
don't know. They linger a little too long sometimes.
That's because you don't like your feet rubbed. So I just place my hand on it, non-rubbing. So.
And you love podcast night.
Oh, I do love podcast night.
Because I never wear my shoes.
I love any night because Brittany hates wearing shoes and socks. So it's an amazing relationship we have here.
It's true.
Shit.
Just exposing yourself out there.
Just throwing it all out there. But anyway, he just observed their conversations, their jokes, and just their camaraderie. And most of the girls that are in this movie are based on someone from his real life or a combination of people. Mm-hmm. We do have another group of women to go, but let's go ahead and dive into it because we've been doing it each time. And I feel like it's important, because it's one of the main things that people discuss about these movies. But how do you feel about the female portrayal in Death Proof?
Okay. If anybody says this is misogynistic, I'm going to punch them in the face. Because this movie is not. I mean, people try to be in this movie, but the women shoot them down every time.
Yeah, well, even these girls, if they had the forethought that they were being stalked, maybe they would be a little better at this. But
right, they just didn't know. They were just innocent in this situation.
Yeah.
And then, even the guys that they were with that were being misogynistic behind their backs or whatever, they still shot them down. They're like, no, you're not going to the lake with us.
Yeah, because I don't know if anybody's noticed in this movie, but the women have complete control over everything that's going on. Yeah. Besides what stuntman Mike is doing, But they do take control later on. It's just a different set of women.
Right.
But like, even at the bar, she's like, yeah, 6 minutes, but you have stipulations to make out with me. Like
Right.
they're all in very much control. And even some of their conversations reflect that. Later on you have Rosario Dawson and Zoe Bell, and they're talking about her sex life and stuff and how she's basically like in control of the sex life, but they're like, you might want to give him a little, just,
Right.
there's that kind of talk and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's just jokey, but like, I do feel like the women are very much in control.
Yeah. They're very confident and well-spoken women. I don't know.
No one's
It's
dumb.
great. No.
I mean, yeah, you could say some of these girls are dumb, but not really. Like
Right.
the girls here at the beginning, but they're not really dumb. I mean, just because they don't know Stuntman Mike's a fucking psychopath, like, does that make them dumb? Really?
No, because in
No.
everyday life, you wouldn't know that he was a psychopath.
Right.
I guess the only dumb one, I'm going to use air quotes here, is probably Pam because she got in the car with him.
But even then, man,
Right.
how many times has Pam done this?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's sad, but probably a lot.
Well, I'm sorry. It's Kurt fucking Russell. Like I said, this character is very charming, and that's how he does get people.
And you know what? I think the car is cool, not necessarily scary. I'd want to ride in the car.
It's fucking awesome.
I would just want to take a ride in the car.
Yeah.
Like, can I ride in your car?
Can I ride in that? Plus, I mean, even he says before they get into the car, he's like, because she's a little nervous because he explains the crash box,
Mhm.
which is basically the place where they would put the camera in the car, which is realistic. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And she has to sit on this metal seat and there's no seat belts and stuff. But at the same time, he's like, but look, I'm not going to be putting my hands on you.
Right.
Because she's in a separate box.
Right. See, that'd be perfect. I would do it. I would.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I don't think you could say these characters are dumb.
Right. So then he takes off and he is jerking the car really roughly and making her fight all over the place and hitting her head. She gets up and says that she knows that this is just a joke and that if he lets her out, she won't tell anybody because it's just a joke. She's like trying to play it off like, it's okay. You're dumb, but it's okay. Mike says that, remember when he said the car was death proof? He wasn't kidding, but the only way to get the benefit is to be sitting in his seat. Then he slams on his brake.
Oh, man.
And she smashes into the dash and slowly dies. Then he says that he has to catch his other girlfriends. I gotta catch me my other girlfriends.
Yeah, it's so fucking scary, man.
Oh.
And he turns on a dime. In the bar, he is, like I said, he's like non-threatening. The dudes are sitting there calling him TJ and the Bear and shit. Like they're giving him shit, and he's not even saying anything.
Something I feel like I need to point out, because it'll come up in a little bit. He did not drink at all. He drank virgin strawberry daiquiris or something like that, virgin margaritas or something like that.
Yeah, so he's not even like drinking. So
No.
like, what's the threat?
Right.
That's
He
the
didn't
problem.
drink and he didn't smoke weed with them.
Yeah, so that's the problem. You got this straight-laced guy, which I think that is the red flag.
It's a little scary. Yeah.
This dude just coming to the bar to get nachos.
Yeah.
Which again, the nachos. But I'm sorry, Warren's is an awesome dive bar. I wish we had a fucking dive bar like that. Like there are no
But there's
dive
not
bars.
random girls in there giving lap dances. I'm sorry.
Man, not in Oklahoma. Not in fucking Oklahoma.
I mean, you could get a lap dance from the meth heads, but
It's a lap dance you wouldn't want.
exactly.
You're like, hang on, I got to get like 7 beers now before we do this.
You need to be a little blurry.
Get those nachos ready. I'm going to need some food after this, some comfort food. But no, he's absolutely charming. So, I mean, what's the fucking threat? So you would go with this dude. But speaking of Kurt Russell, there is a few tributes to his career throughout this film. Stuntman Mike mentions a TV show, The Virginian. That's what he's telling Pam about, And Kurt Russell actually did appear in an episode of that early in his career. We talked about the whole fucking thing where on Walt Disney's deathbed, he wrote Kurt Russell, and that was like his last words.
Maybe Kurt Russell killed him.
He's like, I gotta do away with this Disney character. But anyway, sorry. But also in the bar, if you look on the back wall, Like when Jungle Julia is sitting there.
Nobody's paying that much attention.
I know, but I gotta mention it because it's so cool. They have Jack Burton's tank top hanging on the wall from Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Brittany's like, I don't care. We haven't even done that movie, so what's the fucking point? Because I'm not gonna remember to mention this when we do that movie.
You might.
Now, as for our car here, which this first car stuntman Mike drives is a 1971 Chevy Nova. Nice. With a hood ornament that is featured on Chris Christopherson's truck in Convoy 1978, the rubber duck kind of Roadrunner looking duck thing on that thing. Again, nobody's paying this much attention, but I am. The Nova's a gorgeous fucking automobile.
Oh, yeah.
Man, especially the 71. Now, the Nova isn't just a nod. I don't believe it's a nod to any other movie, but it does have the license plate from Steve McQueen's Mustang, JJZ 109 from the film Bullet in 1968. Again, you guys are writing these movies down, right?
No.
Get your pen and papers. Brittany gets a slide because that's just her character on the show.
It's my character. I ain't watching this shit.
I like how I said that like this isn't real. Like this isn't like what we do. Like it's so funny because I was like people were a little excited that I was releasing the script to one of our shows, like the notes to one of our shows. I was like, get prepared for the most boring thing you've ever read because it is not this show.
And there's no fucking...
There's no jokes.
There's so many typos.
There's so many typos because we're doing this on a rush. But anyway... The reason for the Nova to be here, aside from just looking awesome, is Tarantino is a fan of the Chevy Nova.
I would assume so.
He's a fan of classic cars.
Okay.
Classic Detroit muscle cars. My God, there's so many in this fucking the cars in this movie. It's the selling point to begin with, you know.
Right. So the girls are driving to the lake house, and their friend Lena is driving because they're all fucking drunk. Of course, Julie has her legs sticking out the window, like I talked about before. Which
makes you never want to pull this move here in a minute.
No.
Like putting your leg out the window.
Oh, I will say a disclaimer about this in a minute. No, I'll just say it now, okay?
Okay.
Did you know that people that put their feet up on the dashboard in the passenger seat are more likely to get paralyzed in a car accident than any other... like paralyzation or whatever?
Well, I
in a car
assume
accident?
so because like if you get a head-on collision with something like and your legs are like that, your knees are going behind your head, not in a good way.
Because of the airbag.
Yeah, and you might have fucking stuntman Mike just do what he's about to do. So you got to watch out.
Okay, that'd be really fucked up.
You got to watch out for stuntman Mike. 'Cause I don't know how he would achieve what he's about to do in real life, but it looks cool.
Right. Well, speaking of Mike, he comes speeding past them, flips a U-turn, turns off his lights, and waits for them to get closer. He then peels out, turns his headlights on, and rams them head on. Then we get POV of what happened to all of them. You know how Tarantino does, like, he did it in Jackie Brown, where we saw POV of everybody's viewpoint of this.
Yeah, he does this with a car wreck.
Right.
Which is kind of, I don't know if this is right, but to mention, but does anybody remember like the PSA car wreck videos?
Yeah.
They would do this exact thing where it flashed to one person getting hurt and then the next person and then them all getting fucked up. Yeah.
Well, Julie's leg goes flying off into the road.
The fuck off, man. You're watching this movie and you're really not expecting this gore.
No. Arlene takes a tire to the fucking face.
Oh, it's because her face gets fucking shredded by this fucking tire.
Yes. You know what? We've been full of fucking car chase shit. Because on Ash vs. Evil Dead last month, it was the car one.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost. Yeah. We did talk about the car.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of tires to the face lately.
We have, man. Nothing beats a good fucking car killing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. It's just very exciting.
You know that's how I'm going to die, right?
Duh. that just went grim. What are you doing here?
Car crash.
Okay, but I don't want to.
Everybody's trying to crash into me.
That's true.
I've had two
You're
cars.
a fucking magnet.
I've had two cars totaled because of other people.
Right.
And other people turning left into my car. Sorry.
But these girls get fucked the fuck up,
That's
man.
true.
It is perversely gory. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, because you would have sat through, at this point, you would have sat through Planet Terror, which is a very gory movie, but it's more kind of over the top fun gore.
Right.
This is like over the top disturbing. Like, it's over the top because one of the girls goes flipping out the fucking window and shit like that. But like, this is like an over the top to where you're like, oh God. And then you're also like, oh, that was kind of cool, man. That was awesome.
You don't know to cringe or smile.
Yeah. It's a lot of emotions you're getting hit with in the face here.
Like a tired.
Yes. And this begins my love affair with the stunts of Death Proof. The stunts in this movie. Again, like, it was crazy because we were watching this movie and this fucking scene happens and we were like, oh shit, there's more movie? Like, that wasn't the crescendo? Like, and it isn't. We have so much more to go.
You know what? I would have been happy with that.
It would have been just like, this is just so good. And then you're like, wait, there's more of this coming?
Right.
Oh my God. It doesn't get quite as perverse as this because, again, this is kind of, I don't think I've said this yet, but like, it feels like Death Proof is 2 movies.
Right.
You got your first part, which is like pure on just slasher heaven, you know, gory and fucking gross and scummy and shit like that. And then your last part is more of a car chase movie, you know? Mm-hmm. But the stunt, which you see here, by the way, 0 CGI.
Nice.
Besides maybe a little touch ups on that tire hitting something, but that is a full on prosthetic dummy,
right?
Getting a tire to the face. Not in real life. I mean, I'm sure they have a rig and stuff like that, but almost 0 CGI here. Production had 4 of these Chevy Novas on hand. The most functional of the 4 were 2 cars nicknamed the Jesus, made specifically for the rollover stunt, and the second is a caged off roll car named the Prius. That was going to be destroyed during the stunt. Now, Kurt Russell's stunt double, Buddy Joe Hooker, executed this cannon roll in just 1 take. He did this fucking roll and this ramp shot in 1 fucking take.
Wow.
Yeah, which is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a gorgeous car wreck. And in 2007, man. 2007, and I'll discuss like kind of where cars were a little bit in movies at this point, but in 2007, this is glorious, man. You just didn't see this in a fucking car movie. Right. Real fucking metal just shredding down the fucking road. Now, Buddy Joe Hooker bought the Jesus, which is the one that survived, for $500 after production wrapped, and he fixed it up and gave it to his son for his first car.
Nice.
His son actually drove the Death Proof car to high school. I don't know how this guy's fucking dating life was.
I mean, I would have rode in it. Like I said, I would have rode in it.
It's fucking cool, man. Like, here's the thing about Death Proof. Like, it does have its flaws. I'll agree. Right. It has its flaws, and I can see why people don't like it. But at the same time, man, it's fucking cool.
How do you not like it?
How do you not like this?
How do you not like it? Just this scene alone, like, if you're a car guy,
it's cool.
Wouldn't you love
I'm
that?
half-ass a car guy, and I really appreciate this shit.
Right.
Like, I guess I would explain myself. I'm a movie car guy.
Yeah.
Like, in real life, I know absolutely dog shit about cars, but like movie cars, oh fuck, you know. And we'll be talking about the Vanishing Point car here in a minute.
So at the hospital, Mike is talking to someone and he says that he doesn't remember anything. Then Sheriff Earl McGraw and his son Edgar are there to find out what happened. They talk to a doctor and she says that it's a miracle Mike is alive. The sheriff says he thinks that this was vehicular manslaughter. Edgar asks what he's going to do and he says nothing because the DA says there's no case because Mike was not drunk or high. And they were.
Yeah. And, which explains why he wasn't fucking drinking. Because it's not like some kind of moral aptitude he has. Because we see him drinking when he's like...
Oh, yeah, later on.
Later
on. No, he did this to get away with this.
Yeah.
The sheriff thinks that Mike did this on purpose though, and he thinks it's a sex thing. He's like, some weird sex thing.
But the only thing this pervert can shoot his goo on. Oh my God, stop calling it goo.
He says that the only thing they can get him on is manslaughter for the girl that was in the death box. But he has a bartender that is going to testify that Mike didn't drink a drop, and she asked for a ride. So on paper, he's clean. Yeah.
Now, at the end of the crash, there was going to be a scene where stuntman Mike jerks off.
Oh, God.
After he's killed everyone. But they cut that because, because Earl McGraw lays it all out here in this fucking scene. He explains why fucking Kurt Russell's doing this. And I don't know if I really wanted a Kurt Russell jerk off scene.
I'm good.
I mean, you know, maybe in the Christmas Chronicles 3, we'll talk about that.
Ew.
But
no.
But if this doctor that they're talking to seems familiar and seems like she should be a character, like that's because she was in Planet Terror. Earl McGraw and Dr. Dakota appear in that. Okay.
Because I was like, I want more of this. Like, what happens? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Again, like Michael Parks is so good. If you guys want a lot of Michael Parks, go watch Tusk by Kevin Smith.
I heard that's a good movie.
It's a great movie. People kind of badmouth it because it's a little over the top, but like Michael Parks carries that entire fucking film with him. It is so fucking good.
So 14 months later, we're in Lebanon, Tennessee now. Oh, because we were in Austin, Texas, but now we're in Lebanon, Tennessee. And
the music he chooses here, like you have a little bit of ZZ Top and stuff like that. The music he chooses is very much vindictive to the area he's in. It's a lot of like Southern kind of twangy kind of music and stuff like that. Just nasty, nasty in a good way.
Right.
Just like Southern tunes.
Yeah. So Mike pulls up somewhere and there are 3 women in a car. One of them with their feet hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
I just have to point that out. They're going into a store because they're going to go pick up their friend from the airport. The girl that has her feet out, he fucks with her feet. Then he gets in his car and like peels out.
Yeah. And so one of the pictures I love from the behind the scenes stuff of this is Quentin Tarantino shooting Rosario Dawson's feet here. Because he is like putting so much care into this shot of her feet. I love my job.
Right. Well, I really like how this part goes from black and white to color. Because like I thought the rest of the movie was going to be like that.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I don't know.
Like I said, it looks like the color drops off the film for like a few seconds.
But I like it.
Yeah, it's a cool aesthetic, man. It looks cool.
So the girls are just hanging out. They go to lunch or whatever, and Mike is taking pictures of them without them knowing. They drive around for a bit, and then they go to a restaurant, like I said. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, Mike is there too. They just don't see him.
I love that little like addition of him sitting there eating at the bar, but they don't interact with him. You don't see him the entire time. You just kind of see him once as the camera's doing its circle.
Mm-hmm. And you just see the back of his head.
Yeah, which by the way, like I said, Quentin Tarantino did most of the cinematography in this movie, and a lot of the camera shots are really cool.
Yeah.
Like with this, he's as the girls are talking, he's circling around them.
Yeah.
Which you would think it would be a very distracting shot, but it really isn't. I don't know. It's very cool.
Then there's a scene, like a part in the scene, I'm sorry, where he like zooms in on Zoe's face as she's talking. And I was like, ooh, I like that.
It's really cool, man. The stuff he pulls here, especially in this second part of the movie, there is a lot of fucking experimental shit going on that he's doing.
Yeah.
Because again, I really do think he's just doing Death Proof for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is the funnest of all his pictures. It doesn't have a lot of personality. Well, it has personality, but what I'm trying to say, it doesn't have a lot of like, he's not trying to go for deep meaning or anything like that. Or anything below the surface of this. It's just literal, just fun. And just the camera technique in this fucking movie, man. Now, Tarantino has said that he felt he over-tweaked the movie. Speaking of which, with all the gonzo experimental stuff, like the color dropping out of the film, like it was degraded and the color was just fucking stripped away, or they couldn't afford color film to reshoot something, so they used black and white film. But to me, it's really just part of the experience.
Yeah.
Like this movie, I think this is Quentin Tarantino's theme park ride. Like you're just there for the experience. So once you kind of get past and know what he's going for with the aesthetics, it's just part of the fun.
Yeah.
Like it really is just fun. This movie feels straight from the fucking 60s and 70s, like I said.
Yeah.
Even though it takes place current day. Now, the car you see, which they're driving here at first, which is this yellow car, it's called the Pussy Wagon. It's the car version of the Pussy Wagon truck in Kill Bill.
Nice.
I believe Tarantino still owns the truck and the car.
Oh, okay.
But he actually used to drive the SS Chevy truck that was used in Kill Bill. He used to drive that as his personal vehicle. So he's driving around the Pussy Wagon around L.A., which he also loaned to Lady Gaga for one of her music videos.
Oh.
It's in one of those. But he has since stopped driving the Pussy Wagon because people would recognize it was him.
Oh.
You know, like he said, like, how do you not? Like, it's immediately recognizable. Oh, there's the Pussy Wagon. There's Quentin Tarantino. Like,
Right.
and he had to stop driving it because then there would be people would drive alongside him and try to talk. And that's fucking dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, Quentin Tarantino has a kid now. He's a father. And he has stated, he was like, it's not the right ride to drive my son around.
Right. So the girls go to see a car that a man has for sale. It's the same car from a movie called Vanishing Point. Zoe wants to play a game called Ship's Mast, and her friend argues with her and refuses. But they finally come to an agreement, and they go to get the car. So their friend Abernathy wants to go with them. I'm going to call her Abby because that's a long name. Because she introduces herself as Abby.
Yeah. And what we're dealing with, I think this group of women are, you have stunt men or stunt women. Sorry. You have they're stunt performers and also actresses.
Right. Abby's an actress. Zoe is a stunt woman. And the other one, I don't know her name either. Kim. She's a stunt woman also.
Right.
Well, Abby wants to go with them. And Kim's like, okay, you can go with us, but you have to convince the guy to let us take the car out. You have to sit in the back and shut the fuck up. Don't say a fucking word. She was like, because I'm going to do something that I don't want to fucking do, but we're going to do it. And you need to shut the fuck up. She was like, oh, you guys are just going to drive fast? And she's like, no. It's worse than that.
Worse than that. Which you were like, I remember we were watching this together because this is the scene like you hadn't seen. Yeah. And you were like, what are they going to do? What the fuck are they going to do?
Right. I'm like, what is happening?
But the car, I think another thing that really was weird to people was because unless you know a Vanishing Point, this car holds no special meaning to you.
Nope.
But I love Vanishing Point. It's one of my favorite movies that I cannot find for the life of me at an affordable price on DVD. I would love to own it, but I can't find it. And it's not on streaming. But like this car is a 1970, I think it's a 1970 or a 71 Dodge Challenger, 1970. Dodge Challenger, and it's white and stuff, and it's just a fucking gorgeous goddamn car.
Oh yeah,
and it is very recognizable to people who know what Vanishing Point is, because the car's popularity shot up after Vanishing Point was released in 1971.
Oh yeah,
but like even so, like when they're doing the car chase scenes later, Quentin Tarantino said that like people were stopping him and asking, "Are you guys remaking Vanishing Point?"
That's awesome.
Vanishing Point, if you guys haven't seen it, and if you can get a hold of it, watch it. It's so fucking good. It's just so many good car chases, man. We don't have those kind of car chases anymore.
Right. Finally, they convince the guy to let them drive the car. As they're going to leave their car and their friend there.
They leave poor Leigh behind. Right. Because I love it. She's like, she's going to be doing a cheerleader movie. Is it a porno? Which this guy right here, I don't remember his name, but he's been in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies.
Oh, yeah. That's who that is. Okay.
He's one of Adam Sandler's. He pops up in random movies. Like,
yeah.
I think just because he can do this voice.
Right.
It's like almost Carl from Sling Blade kind of voice going on. But I love that because he's like, is it a porno? Yeah, that's what it is.
So they get the car and they start driving. They stop in the middle of the road Zoe puts on this jacket, this stunt woman jacket or whatever. They take off their belts and tie these belts to the doors, not just one door, of the car.
But Kim does insist on having the jacket back because Zoe is her slave at this point.
Oh,
will
that's
crack
right.
her back anytime she wants.
Right, exactly. So Zoe ends up getting on the hood of the car with her back on the hood, so she's facing outwards, holding onto these belts as Kim starts to fucking drive.
Playing
So fucking fast.
Playing ship's mast, which I think is a reference to like when they would tie somebody to the ship's mast and like the times of boats and shit. But I don't know if this is a real thing, but you know, I might as well be. You know, we know of like, what is that, riding the whip or whatever the kids were doing there for a while. They'd get out of the whip? Where they'd get out of the moving car and walk beside it.
Oh, that was not called riding the whip. That was Kiki, Do You Love Me?
Oh, or car surfing. Anyone ever heard of car surfing?
Where you get on the hood of the car? Yeah. Or the top of the car, I mean.
Yeah. We tried that when I was younger. We tried that.
That's stupid.
Yeah, Tim busted his ass. We didn't even go. We just like went forward and he fell off immediately. So our second set of ladies is comprised of Rosario Dawson playing Abernathy, Tracie Thoms, who's playing Kim here, who actually had a long run in the TV series Cold Case and the television series 911. If you watch those shows and her other stuff, this is not, she's against type here.
Okay.
Yeah, which we've talked about Quentin Tarantino being perfect at doing that. Now, you also have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in Final Destination 3 and 2006 Black Christmas. And my favorite role she ever played was Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay.
And of course, Zoe fucking Bell. Playing herself. I'll say out of all the stunt people working today, Zoe Bell is a fucking amazing, man. Now Zoe thought that when Tarantino approached her and said he was going to give her a role in one of his movies, that she was just going to be an extra. You know, she had done Kill Bill as a double for Uma Thurman, and she did the stunts in that movie too, I believe. And also she doubled for Lucy Lawless on Xena. But here she gets to play a heightened version of herself. And of course, since she is an actual stunt woman, she does everything you see here on camera.
Wow.
Everything that's happening here, she does it on camera. And the speeds they were driving these cars at, you know, they didn't do the jogging method, you know, that like they did in some of these older movies where technically they'd be going 40 miles an hour, but they would slow the camera down, or they would speed the camera up a little bit and make it look a little faster. They didn't do that. These cars were literally going 80 into sometimes 100 miles an hour. And Zoe Bell is hanging on for dear life on this car. You know, if that's not vindictive of what kind of stunt woman she is, I don't know what is.
Right.
You know, because Quentin Tarantino, he was like, I want to get a stunt woman in there for you when, you know, you can't see your face. And she was like, no. If I was doing the stunts, this is the stunts I would do. So I'm just going to do them all. So
right,
that's
like,
what she does.
She is the stunt woman.
Yeah, I find that amazing because.
Is she really from New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
So the accent was real.
I love that part.
She's like, so you're from Australia? She's like,
what the fuck does that mean? I'm just fucking with you. I love Zoe Bell's energy.
Oh, yeah.
Like every time she's on camera, and she does a really cool movie that no one really talked about called Raise, where I think she's an assassin in that movie. She's very good. It's a Zoe Bell starring movie, but she has such like an energy she brings to the screen. Lately, you could see her in a weird fucking role as this meth head in the fucking jail cell in Malignant, which is probably James Wan's best movie. I'm just going to say it. But anyway.
So as they're riding, Mike is watching them and he gets in his car. It chases them. He catches up to them and keeps like bumper checking them. And Zoe is flying all over this fucking hood.
Which you're white knuckling it through.
Oh my gosh.
It is intense, man.
It's so intense. And there's so much going on that I just really summarized it for you. But she's getting fucked up.
Yeah,
okay.
And you're not like, it's not what you were used to, car chase wise. I think it's even so far as so different from what car chases are today, you know?
Oh, yeah, because there's a fucking person on the hood of the car. And I kept thinking, okay, this had to have fucking hurt because her shirt is like halfway up. And so her back is exposed and she's sliding around on the car.
Yeah. And you're talking about a 70 Dodge or a 70 Challenger. So like it's metal. It's not fiberglass.
And it's fucking, you can hear the squeaking of her skin on the thing. Oh, fuck. Ow, 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 ow. That alone just fucking fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, she eventually like loses the belts. Like she can't hang on to them anymore. So she's hanging on to the car any way she fucking
Pure
can.
fucking hood. She's grabbing onto the breather slits in the fucking hood.
Yes.
Just, whoa.
In gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity. The force of the car just fucking going so fast. Gravity.
It is fucking intense, man. So we saw earlier that scene, like the death, the crash and stuff, and that was great, right? But I don't think like you're ready for the intensity that these next scenes have.
Oh, right.
Because it is fucking white knuckle, fucking just
because
gripping your seat.
We're doing this for like 10 fucking minutes straight.
Yeah. Like this has got to be like 10 minutes of the movie, right? Right here. Just this scene. The last car chases of the movie does last about 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And it is, oh my God, you were just not let go until the very end.
No. Well, Mike ends up getting stuck and he thinks that was just a great fucking time because he says that. It was a great time. Well, Kim shoots him in the arm. I
love that. And he set up that gun earlier in the diner and stuff like that. But like, I love how he's just like, thanks, Leigh. She fucking shoots one in his fucking arm.
And we didn't expect that at all.
No, you're not expecting it. And that's what's lovely about this last part because you were not expecting this twist.
Right.
You're expecting Stuntman Mike to still be killing people and maybe, get his at the very end or something like that. The slasher formula. And this goes back to what I meant earlier by he's using it against you at this moment. He's using what you've come to expect from a slasher movie and he's fucking flipping around and fucking with you now.
Right. So he drives off as well as he can with the bullet in the arm.
Yeah.
And they think that Zoe is dead. Everybody's fucking crying. But she just pops up. She's like, I'm okay. I'm fine.
I fucking love that. Like I said, that energy she brings.
Yeah.
Now, these car chases, they, like we said, they take your fucking breath away for real, man. You're watching this in a fucking movie theater. Me and my friend were not speaking the entire last part of this fucking movie. I feel like Death Proof, though, has the best car chases ever on screen during the 2000s. I'm sure I'll have a lot of people say otherwise, but to me, out of what I saw, and I think this is around the time Fast and the Furious was getting going, I feel like this is the most intense car chases I had seen at that moment. Aside from the movies that I discussed that me and my friend had been watching, like Vanishing Point, Bullet, like all those car chases and stuff. That's kind of what are in those movies.
Right.
There are movies that literally you just watch for the car chases. Nothing else. Just watch for those car chases. But of course, the white car the girls drive, the exact car from Vanishing Point, like I said, the 71. The movies from 71. But car chases in cinema back then, they had this whole white knuckle raw quality to them. Now, you haven't really seen much of what I'm talking about, like the French Connection and stuff like that.
Right.
But you had screaming engines and twisted metal and real motherfucking car crashes with stuntmen and all the fucking works, man. Like what you saw on the screen was real metal hitting real metal. And Tarantino said doing this was super exciting to him. And I think you feel it in these fucking scenes specifically. Like you definitely feel where him having a love for those kind of movies really pays off with this.
Right.
You have an old style of shooting car chases shown to you in Death Proof. We cut less to shifting gears and gas pedals. Like I feel like the Fast and Furious does this a lot. Like you see a lot of people shifting gears and gas pedals. I'm like, zoom out, motherfucker. Like, let me see. Like, I love when the actors are involved in the chase and stuff like that. And you get that here, you know, those old school movies that, you know, you're having fucking Steve McQueen in a movie. You're not going to fucking cut away. You know, you're going to get him involved in this car chase, even though he'll have a stunt double when the hard stuff comes. But we also zoom out from the cars, you know, and so we're seeing real speed, which isn't, I just feel like it's not a thing much anymore.
Right.
Most people load these cars on the back of a flatbed. And so like no one's actually driving these cars. It's all like CG'd and stuff like that.
Which is
yeah. I don't know.
I'd rather see it all.
Yeah. And you have multiple angles of the action too, you know, but less cameras. That's another thing that those old school movies did, because they didn't have, you know, what we have now. And zero CGI, so you didn't have that. But take you know, the Fast and Furious franchise. They probably use like 12 different fucking cameras on each end of the fucking car and stuff, and then they all just apply that at the end in like an editing thing. But like with this old school shooting, these car chases, you had maybe one, maybe two cameras. You know,
That's awesome.
So the scenes you're getting is all happening. It's beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to say it anymore. But I feel like from the mid 90s up until Death Proof, this is the best you got. I mean, Terminator 2 had some good stuff, and Final Destination 2 had some really cool shit. It had some really cool car scenes, but really nothing like what you see in what you got in like Vanishing Point again.
Yeah.
Write that movie down, you guys.
I don't think they need to. We've said it 700 times.
It's like I said, it's hard not to mention it a million times when you have the car in this movie.
And Zoe says this is the best American movie ever made.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say the best, but it is.
Well, for her.
It's on my perfect list.
Oh,
I'll
shit.
give you that. Yeah, it's on my perfect list. I wish I fucking owned it, though. It bugs me. It bugs me a lot. But anyway, I took about 6 weeks to film this chase sequence we have here at the end. And it clocks in, like I said, around 20 minutes of time. As Tarantino said, it's real cars, real shit at full speed. You forget it's a movie for a minute. When you're in this, because you don't like I said, those car chases we get now, it's great. You know, it's good. I'm not saying they're bad.
Right.
It's just action. It's just an action scene. Whereas with this, you feel it in the fucking bottom of your stomach.
Right. And oh man, you're just waiting to see what happens
you're watching,
next.
you're like, if anything goes wrong.
Right.
And that's part of the entertainment value. And it sounds disgusting, but it is. Like, it's part of the entertainment value where you kind of know it's a movie and you're like, how are they doing this? If one thing goes wrong, they're fucked. And
right. And we're going so fucking fast. Oh my God.
It definitely serves as a tribute to the old school stunt dudes. The old school stunt people, man, who had to pull this shit off, who sacrificed like life and limb to get like the money shot of fucking cars, you know, like car chases and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think Hal Needham said it in his book one time. He was like, you know, sometimes you'd go and do a stunt that day, and it was either going to be a good day and we're going to go hang our heads high while we're drinking at the bar, or we're going to be hanging our heads pretty low at the funeral tomorrow.
Right.
You know, it really is. It's something. I mean, even today, you know, there still are stunt people today, but like, it's an unsung crowd of heroes out there working on these movies.
Right. So the girls decide that they want to catch up to him and kill him.
I love that, because like I said, like we were just talking about, you don't really see this turn coming.
No.
Like, because it's all of a sudden they're like, well, what do you want to do? Let's kill this motherfucker.
And Zoe walks over and she grabs this lead pipe that she finds on the side of the road or whatever, and she's ready.
Oh
she's
man,
ready.
you're just like, this is getting fucking awesome.
Well, Mike pulls over down the way because he is really hurt from getting shot, so he starts drinking. The girls pull up, and Zoe starts beating him with this pipe. So he drives off, and they chase him down, and they keep hitting him. And they keep hitting his car like he was doing to them.
Which I love it, because like they've turned the tables on this guy, and he's turned into the damsel in distress kind of person. Right. Like, he's the one who's fucking
he's having a hard time because he's shot in the arm. And they eventually end up in traffic and they're weaving in and out of these cars. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're feeling it in your fucking stomach. And when they like crash through that thing and they get out in the traffic, the fucking music kicks in, the car chase music, and you're like, oh man.
Yes. The only thing I didn't like about this is like these cars are obviously staged so that the other cars can weave in and out.
It's definitely a method they used to use in those old movies where they would have cars drive in at a certain speed and they were spaced just enough, like they were spaced the proper amount so they could do that, unless you had that one stunt car that had to get pushed a little.
And they do have one of those.
They always do that in those movies. And you didn't mention it, but I love how he throws in the scene. Because in all those fucking movies, there's always a scene of a motorcyclist getting fucking thrown into a fucking billboard or a fucking like closed fruit stand. And we get that. And I'm like, yes. Yes.
So a little ways down, they end up flipping his car and he is fucked up and he is screaming like a little bitch.
Yes. Yeah. And that's definitely like, I haven't read that anywhere, but that's definitely on purpose. Like just to make him the feminine one now. Right. Like he's the one who's, because I love when they approach, he's like, be careful. My arm's broken. My arm's broken.
And then you hear that cracking noise.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they pull him out of the car. And they beat the fuck out of him. They just take turns kicking him. They're punching him. And then he dies.
And that's it, man. And of course, Rosario Dawson's Abernathy has to do the fucking boot heel to the goddamn crushing the skull. It is a glorious fucking ending. And he truly does fuck with you. He fucks with your expectations of this slasher movie, he just fucks the entire formula, and I love him for it. That's what I love Death Proof for. He takes something you thought was going to happen, and he just fucking spits it back in your throat. And the thing is about that is that's how these movies would be, these grindhouse movies. You would go in expecting something and get something completely different,
Right.
So I just talking about it, you feel the tension.
It's so much adrenaline.
Just those car chases. My God, the adrenaline pumping. Now, Death Proof, as I said, wasn't everyone's cup of tea. In fact, it's Quentin Tarantino's first failure if you look at the numbers. Like I said, it cost $30 million to make. I'm not exactly sure how much Planet Terror costs, but probably more or the same amount. So,
really?
So if you kind of estimate, let's just say this whole thing with the trailers, which by the way, there was faux trailers directed by Eli Roth, Edgar Wright, and everything inserted in there. And Rob Zombie does one where Nicolas Cage is a werewolf or something like he's Fu Manchu and fucking one of the, it's so brilliant. And, so let's just throw out an estimate of 70 million there.
Holy crap.
I believe Grindhouse made 30 million. It was a bomb.
Oh.
It was a bomb. Even though nowadays, these are getting reevaluated and people are like, these are good. These are good. And I think that's what we did here today. But like I said, when it was released, the Grindhouse double feature, which me and my friend attended opening night, as fans of this kind of cinema, it was a grindhouse exploitation drive-in movie lover's wet fucking dream.
Oh, yeah.
This was just, But for the casual audience, this was confusing.
Yeah.
You have two big names, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. They're draws to the box office no matter what they put out. So people are just going to see the newest Robert Rodriguez movie and the newest Quentin Tarantino movie. Mm-hmm. So they're showing up for that. Maybe they've seen Kill Bill. Maybe they're just Pulp Fiction fans and they just decided to go out and then they get this.
Right.
Which is not what you're expecting. Not only did you have the double feature, which were throwbacks to the Lost Era with those mock trailers and stuff like that. That came out in America, but overseas, audience over there, they absolutely didn't know what to do with it because those movies came out separately over there, 2 months apart.
Oh, that's weird.
So it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Because you don't, and I think it really does work in the benefit of having, you really do, you owe it to yourself if you haven't seen the way these were presented theatrically theatrically.
Mhm.
If you haven't seen that, to see it like that, because it is a thrill ride. It's a fun time.
Well, you've convinced me. I need to do that now.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I wish we could do Planet Terror this month, but we can't, you know. But, you know, maybe we'll do a Robert Rodriguez month. Who knows?
Oh, my Jesus.
You're going to have just as much fun with those.
Oh, I believe so.
But like over in the UK, take for that for example, but like as Edgar Wright said, he said they walked in, there was only 13 people in attendance in his theater.
Oh.
Yeah. It was kind of too early for Grindhouse, I feel. 2007 and stuff like that, which it is, like I said, to most people it doesn't, but that's because mostly the people who were really into this at the time were underground film fans, you know, film history buffs, and just appreciators of like drive-in and grindhouse cinema. You know, that's mostly who was really like fucking talking this shit up.
Right.
But for everybody else, it was like, what? Why? It felt like, I noticed some reviewers and some people felt like Quentin Tarantino regressed.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that.
Because it's funny, because if this was his first movie, I don't think it would have been as lauded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not.
Right. This is like your sixth fucking movie, bro.
Yeah. But, you know, even Tarantino says it's his work. He was like, well, you know, if I have to make a bad movie, Death Proof is that. You know, Death Proof's my bad one. But he was like, you know, for every bad one, there's like two great ones.
Right.
He was like, it's not a bad movie. It's still very fun.
Yes, I'm going to agree with that. And, you know, maybe he needed to relax a little bit after Kill Bill.
He really did. Here's the thing. And we haven't covered Kill Bill this month because doing two parts like that would be very hard. Maybe we will do those at another time, but just not right now.
Right.
But after Kill Bill, he was so burnt out.
Really?
You know, he didn't take such a big break, but I feel like Death Proof is his break.
Right.
He took a break.
Right.
You know, he said that, like, I believe it was after he did Chapter 2, Kill Bill, or Kill Bill Volume 2. He was like, I almost like said to myself, I didn't want to do movies anymore.
Dang.
And that's bad for him because, like I said before, he said the best moments of his life is making movies.
Right.
So, you know, I think Death Proof is kind of acting as his break. He's just having a good fucking time. And to me, that's what Death Proof is. It's just a good fucking time with a movie.
Yeah.
If you go into this expecting much more than a good time, you're going to be very disappointed. I mean, like I said, car chases alone is the reason you should fucking see this movie.
Or hot women in cars.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to be misogynistic there for a minute.
That's fine. Like I said, the women in this, woo. But like I said, you know, it was the wrong time for it. And if it was released today, it might have been a little better because you look at these people shelling out $40 a pop for shitty old grindhouse movies.
Right.
This probably would have done a lot better now. But it's not now. Now, up until 2010, you could get both Planet Terror and Death Proof, each their extended versions on DVD and Blu-ray separately. But in 2010, the complete theatrical Grindhouse experience, trailers and all, could be bought for the first time. And I own that. And I own that, and I own the separate versions of each movie.
Nice.
So I own these movies twice, but it's a different experience.
Right.
You know, and I suggest you guys seek that out if you haven't experienced it that way. But anyway. Any fucking way. You know, I mentioned earlier, and I know I'm kind of going on here, but I mentioned earlier that Death Proof also has a poignant feel to it, you know? You watch it now, these days, and it feels like in 2007, it's a goodbye. You know, it's a goodbye for the way these kind of movies were made.
Okay, yeah.
You know, even though, like I said, 30 million, come on. But it feels like Death Proof is a goodbye to the cinematic age that these things existed in. We will never have something like this again, especially since it's shot on film, not digital. So already it feels like a goodbye to that format. You know, it feels like a farewell to the golden age of this kind of cinema and shooting on film itself, but also just pure schlock.
schlock.
It's a goodbye to that, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen even these people who bring out these movies who are like, it's just schlocky fun. It's like, yeah, but you're still really trying to say something here, and I'm not enjoying it. Don't advertise schlock and give me substance. That's all I'm saying. Don't do that to me, because I'm going to be highly pissed off.
Don't give me substance.
Well, because it's fucking true. If you advertise your movie like it's a schlocky piece of shit, I'm all for it, man. I know I'm going to go in and have a good time. But if I get in there and you're trying to preach to me a message,
yeah,
it's not a good time. Because then I'm like, okay, so we're not dealing with this. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I guess I got to switch gears because I do agree with your point here, but I just...
God damn it.
I think that's why it pisses me off, though, because 10-1, I'm going to agree with what the message is you're trying to send out. So already I'm not having to think any extra hard. It's just annoying. Right. But anyway, enough about me. I could go on about this forever. Well, what did you think about 2007's Death Proof?
Well, I loved it. You know I love a good slasher movie.
Yeah.
And this is a car slasher. I love car chases. I love cars. I want to sit in all the cars. I want to be the stunt person in the car, not outside of the car. I don't want to be Zoe like on the hood. Like, fuck that.
Fucking hell, man. This is only one of Quentin Tarantino's movies I think that didn't win an award. I think Zoe should have got a fucking award for this, because that is, whoa.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to agree to that. But it was great. It was a good time. I liked hanging out and getting to know these characters. And I think it was a hit in my book. It wasn't the worst Quentin Tarantino movie.
It's good by my book.
Oh my God.
You're going in the book. But shit. So, would you after watching this and after knowing that there are movies that are exactly like this, these chase scenes, would you want to watch movies like that after this?
Hell yeah.
Knowing that there's movies that exist that are nothing but that.
Right. Okay, the thing is, the reason I like scary movies is because I like the adrenaline rush. But no scary movie is giving me an adrenaline rush anymore.
Nothing gives you quite the adrenaline rush like this does. Nothing gives you the adrenaline rush like Bullet, like Vanishing Point, like any of those movies did. And it's kind of sad. Like I said, this movie feels like it's a goodbye to that. Right. It's kind of sad. Like we've lost something in cinema.
Yeah, because I like to feel that anxious, like what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Which is weird to say, because and that's how my mind works. Like, I am a very anxious person. So.
And it sounds like I hate on these like Fast and Furious movies and Marvel movies all the time. I actually do enjoy them, but at the same time, those movies should be that. Right. But they're not. They don't give me that rush.
I agree.
And it's weird. It's very weird, especially because there's so much action in those movies. You would think it would, but it just...
Right.
Something's gone. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but something's gone there.
The suspensefulness is just, you know what's going to happen. That's the thing, is you know what's going to fucking happen. And with this one, I didn't.
Yeah, you go into this and you're like, oh God, what could happen next?
Right. And I think the long drawn out scene of them talking about playing ship's mast is like, okay, really, what's going to happen? What the fuck is happening? Because they don't say what it is. They never do say what it is. You just see it happening.
You know it's something crazy because these two are stunt women.
Yes.
And you know it's something crazy, but you just have no idea where it's going to go.
Right. And I like the suspenseful. I like suspenseful movies.
I fucking agree. We had a fucking blast with this movie this week. Yeah. It was also kind of it's nice to go from Jackie Brown, which is kind of a chill movie, into something just fucking balls to the wall crazy. Right. You know, and that's 2007's Death Proof. But next week we're taking another chill pill, man. We are getting in hangout territory once more.
Nice.
Because we are taking a trip back to 1967 and through 1969 to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is like my new fucking favorite fucking movie ever.
How many times have you seen it? Like 65 or something?
I don't know. I remember one day, like Brittany, like before we really even started talking about Quentin Tarantino movies, she was like, "Are you watching this again?"
Yep.
What are we doing?
Like, every time you see your sister, you talk about this movie.
It's just so good.
It's her favorite movie, too.
Yeah, it's just so good. Like, and I think it's because in a lot of movies nowadays, you have a lack of characters.
Right.
Like, you just don't have characters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is nothing but character. So,
Nothing but.
So until next week when we head back to Hollywood to talk about Sharon Tate, I'm very excited to do that. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know I'm a Sharon Tate fan, and not because of the true crime story, and that's exactly what Quentin Tarantino does. He makes Sharon Tate a person again.
Right.
And so we'll discuss that next week when we do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But until next time, I'm Lee Evans saying stay spooky.
And I'm Brittany. Stay horrific.
And a happy Tarantino Christmas.
Yay!
Yay!
Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorfile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan, used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show on your social media. See you next week.